We'll just wait a few minutes for people to join and then we'll get started soon. I unmuted and everyone was waiting for me to say something, but we'll wait a few minutes still. If anyone has questions, like right off the bat, we are gonna do some questions that we've prepared first, but now like we have a couple minutes. So if you wanna like drop something in the Q&A box, we can probably answer it really quick just while we wait for people in case anyone's having problems with the link. Okay, I'll ramble on a bit at the start just in case there's still other people joining, but we'll get started. Welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining this call today. This is our current student panel. If you didn't get that from the 6 times, it says it on your screen with our matching backgrounds. We're so excited that you're joining us today. And we're all really excited. We love to get the chance to share our own stories from being students at Mount A and a bit of advice from you and also to hear from you as well, because that's the most fun part for us is answering your questions. They're probably more relevant to you than the ones that we've been here for a while, so maybe we forget the most pressing questions you might have as a prospective student. So that being said, we're gonna do panelist introductions, and then we'll go into, we have like 5 or 6 questions that we'll have 1 or 2 panelists answer just to cover some basics that you might be wondering about. And then we will have hopefully lots of time after to do a Q&A in the chat. We also did notice, Zoom experts, that there's a specific Q&A box. So just to make things easier, and I think Q&A questions like maybe anonymized, I'm not 100% sure. Okay, Devon's saying yes. So if you're like not as comfortable asking a question in the chat, it's all good. We'll just use the Q&A box instead to make it easier for everyone. So yeah, we will get started with our introductions. So first off, my name is Lucy Poole. I'm a 4th year student at Mount A. My pronouns are she, her. I'm studying a Bachelor of Arts with honors in economics and a minor in French. I'm from Halifax, Nova Scotia, and I, along with all of our panelists today, am a campus ambassador. So we work within the admissions office of Mount A while we're students, which is super cool. So we'll get everybody to introduce themselves. I don't know what order everyone's in on their own screen, so I'll just like pick on people. Devon, do you want to go first?
Sure. So yeah, my name is Devon. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm in my 4th year of science, studying a major in biology and minors in biochemistry, computer science, and astronomy. And I am from Amherst, Nova Scotia, so literally 15 minutes away from Sackville itself.
Awesome, thank you. Marin, do you want to go?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Meron. I'm a 4th-year student. I'm from Tennessee, USA, and I study a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology and a minor in Religious Studies.
It's okay. We've been here for 4 years. We're allowed to forget our major for a sec. That's good. Riley, go for it.
All right, I'm Riley. My pronouns are he, him. I'm in my 4th year of a Bachelor of Commerce degree with minors in French and Economics, and I'm from just 30 minutes outside Sackville, Moncton, New Brunswick.
Good taste in minors. I like it. Corey?
Yep. Hi, everyone. My name is Corey Ash. My pronouns are he/him. I'm in my 3rd year, and I am in the aviation program. So I'm doing the Bachelor of Science in Aviation with a minor in Economics. And I am from St. John's, Antigua and Barbuda in the Caribbean.
Awesome. Thank you. And finally, Claire.
Hello, everyone. My name is Claire. I use she, her pronouns. I'm also a 4th-year student studying a Bachelor of Science with an honors in biology. And I'm originally from just outside of Halifax, Nova Scotia.
Okay, so those are our panelists. So now we'll jump right into some questions. We just have 2 people answering each of the first 5 questions, but if any of you like have something quickly that you want to jump in and add at the end, we have lots of time, so that's totally cool too. So the first question is for Claire and Devon, and it's kind of a big one, but I'm sure something a lot of people are interested in, and it's how did you know that Mount A was the right fit for you? Claire, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. So when I was looking at different universities, I knew I wanted to focus my sights on a smaller university for my undergraduate degree. I wanted to be able to build close relationships with my professors. I wanted small class sizes, and I wanted the close, tight-knit community that you get from a smaller university. So Mount A gave me all those things and more, and in a town that was the perfect distance for me from home to gain some independence while still having mom and dad close enough if need be. And also, I just really enjoyed the town. Unfortunately, this is digital, but the campus itself was beautiful. And as soon as I walked on campus, I knew that Mount A was going to be the place for me.
Honestly, yeah, like I can only just echo a lot of what Claire said, like, especially in terms of the campus itself. It's so beautiful, especially compared to a lot of other campuses in the Atlantic region. Like that's no way to like diminish other universities, but we do have a very nice campus, especially for like the size too. Another big thing was when I was touring a lot of universities and like talking to admissions counselors and like faculty and staff at other universities, I just found that they weren't at the same level that Mount A was. Like I found that Mount A was very like open and accepting of everybody and anything. Like you could do whatever you want to do, study whatever you want to study. I just found it very like open-ended in a way, which is very, very, very nice for me. As you can tell by my minors, just doing 3 of them, which you can't really do, or it's like harder to do at a lot of other universities. So yeah, definitely like just the openness that Mount A provides.
Thank you both. And what Claire said about like the close-knit community, when you're at Mount A, like you hear that so many times that it kind of like starts to just like go in one ear and out the other, but it is so true. And it is really, really different than what you get at other universities. Like when you are walking to class at Mount A, without fail, you'll see like at least 6 people that you know on your walk. Sometimes you might be late to class because you've stopped to chat with a few too many people. But honestly, I think that's a pretty good reason to be late. So it is really special, and you definitely feel like a part of the community because you have like all these connections with your professors, but also like within the student body of all years. I know a lot of other schools like you would probably only know like students in your own program in your year, but here it is really not like that at all. Like there are so many more opportunities to get like to reach out further in the community, which is super cool. So our next question.
Can I just add something?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, for in terms of the small sizes, like I came from the Caribbean, right? So typically all of our classes are pretty small. Like I think the largest class I've been into in college was like 79 students. So Mount Allison was the perfect fit because I didn't want to jump from a small class size that I'm accustomed to into something bigger. So Mount Allison really fit that need. And one thing I'll also say is because the classes are so small, the profs they take the time to get to know you. Like I remember when I walked into my first year physics course and it was Dr. Turner was teaching. And within like the first 2 to 3 weeks, like he tried to memorize all our names. He used to walk around with a list and he would be like, "You're Corey, right?" I was like, "Yeah." And that's what shocked me because like back home, like our teachers used to say in university, you're just gonna be like a number, like you'd be like number 70 or something like that. So it was really interesting that the profs actually took the time to like learn your names, get to know you on a one-on-one basis, and you could go to like office hours and things like that. So this is why I think Mount Allison was the perfect fit for me.
It's very true. So Corey and Marin will do the next question, and it's what is your favorite thing to do in Sackville? So if Marin, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. So I came from a bigger city, so coming to a small town, like it was new for me. It was a new experience for me, but the fact that it was small really helped me fit in a way. I didn't have to learn much about the environment, which made it easier for me because I had a lot of issues to worry about being a first year student, international student as itself. So having a small and a cute town to live in really helped the process of easing into university. So one of the things I really enjoy doing in Sackville is thrifting. I also like to walk around downtown, go to all the local shops, buy coffee, chat with some friends. So those are the things I really enjoyed to do in Sackville.
For me, I like, well, I used to like going to downtown diner because they had some like really good sushi down there. I think it's one of the best sushis I've ever had. Um, and going to like the Cranewood Bakery. I usually go there sometimes to like study or just take a break from studying and get like a nice like sandwich and coffee. So another thing also is sometimes just going like to the Vogue Theater. That was another place I really like going to. So yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, it is a very small town, but there's surprisingly a lot to do. And if you're like me and one of your favorite things is pretending to go do your homework in like the nice coffee shop environment, famous for that, there's no shortage of options for you. So that is one of my favorite things to do in Sackville. It's also like really, if you can get to campus to visit, it makes a huge difference. Like campus right now, I wish that I could show you all, but it is so beautiful and the leaves are all changing color and it's so, so nice. So if you can come and make it for a campus tour, we would be so happy to have you. So make sure to try to do that if you can. Our next question is for Claire and Riley. And it's what are some ways you have gotten involved on campus and in the community while at Mount A? And do you have any advice for students who might be a bit worried about balancing academics and extracurriculars? Riley, do you want to start us off with that one?
Yeah, sure. So getting involved on campus, obviously I'm a campus ambassador like everyone here. I've been doing orientation for a while too. I did orientation crew in my third year and orientation committee this year. I was an academic mentor in Thornton House. And I'm currently on the lacrosse team and will be doing my first musical ever in Garnet and Gold this year, which is exciting as well. So as you can see, there's lots of different variety of things to do on campus. And all of them, like I love every option that we have here at Mount A. And balancing academics and extracurriculars, I know it can be tough, but I like to stick to a routine. So try to make a weekly schedule at the beginning of the year. A lot of things you'll be involved in will maybe be a weekly meeting, team practice that's at a certain time. So having that set schedule will help a lot. and I like to look at classwork as like a full-time job, which is a little bit more, well, a little bit more than actual class time, and then like plus the homework, all the projects and tests you're gonna have to study for. I like to look at it as a full-time job during the week. So planning out that weekly schedule and sticking to that routine is important to get all your work done, but also enjoy your extracurricular time and have some self-care time weekly, which is very important as well.
Yeah, I have been involved in a lot of similar things as Riley. Our paths have crossed quite a bit over our involvement at Mount A. I too am a campus ambassador and was involved in my residence as a resident assistant in my second year. I was on orientation committee for 2 years. I've been a volunteer with Best Buddies for now 3 years, and I'm on the executive team. I am also the chairperson of the MASU this year. So every year I've kind of added something or two. Since my first year, I came in being somebody who was very involved in their high school. So that was one of the things I was looking for in a university. First year, I wanted to get my academics under control. And then in second year, when I kind of had a better grasp of what school really was like, how much time it would take me to do my work, and just getting comfortable in my new environment, is when I kind of felt it was best to start adding more things onto my plate. Now in fourth year, school is still hard, but it becomes more second nature, knowing how to do your work most efficiently. So I would say don't bite off more that you can chew would be my advice in first year. Try it out, test the water, see what interests you, join a thing or two, and then add as you go.
Yeah, that's definitely some good advice. I know a lot of people, and I was like this too, like in first year, you kind of feel like you have to like figure everything out as early as you can, like what your extracurriculars are going to be, what your academic program is going to be. I think you should just need to keep in mind, like you're here for 4 or more years generally. That's a long time, and there's no rush to like figure out your plan. Like it's going to evolve and it's going to change. Your interests will change. You'll get to meet tons of new people. So like, don't feel like first year is like the be all end all. And like, if you don't join something in first year, then like, oh, you're going to miss out on that for the rest of your degree. It's really like never too late if there's something you're interested in to get involved with it. So just keep an open mind and don't feel like locked in by the choices you make in first year, because there's tons of stuff to explore and you don't want to limit yourself to what like your first year self during the first week of classes thought might be interesting. So just keep that in mind. That being said, our next question is, what is one piece of advice you would give to your first year self if you could? And this question is for Corey and Devon. Corey, do you want to go first?
Sure, yeah. One piece of advice I would say is like reach out for the resources we have here on campus. Like we have a lot of resources, like academic wise, you have like the Writing Resource Center, the Math to Physics Help Center. There's like an economics like tutoring session they usually have. We have tutors here on campus. You have mental health resources. There's just a whole host of resources. And the only way for you to access it is if you reach out. So like, for example, I wish I reached out like pretty early on for like the Physics Help Center and the Math Help Center, because physics, it's not the easiest course, right? And if you need help, you should always reach out. You can even reach out to your profs, reach out in the office hours. So those are the things I wish, like, I always heard everyone say, you know, we have a lot of resources, but I just never accessed them like early. And if I did, I didn't say I did bad, but I could have done, you know, better. So yeah.
Yeah, so the one thing that I would tell, or one of the things that I would tell my first year self, is to not be so like afraid and scared to do certain things. So one of the big things on that is like not being afraid to like put myself out there and do the silly things, because yes, we're a tight-knit community and a small campus, and like a lot of people know a lot of people, but a lot of the time it doesn't matter because there's so many people on campus doing so many different silly things. So like it doesn't matter. And even like with that too, like in first year, and honestly even into a lot of second year, I was afraid to email profs if I didn't know something, or like if I wanted to clarify, or like just something about a midterm or something, I would not email them or get in touch with them at all. I would like tough it out on my own. And that was a big mistake because like Corey said, I could have done so much better if I just like used that resource of being able to email my profs. And this year I have sent at least all of my profs 2 emails a week. So really changed from first year to fourth year on that.
True. You really stop like second guessing bugging your profs with emails as you get in upper years for sure. I can attest to that. Okay, our next question is for Riley and Marin, and it's what sticks out as one of your favorite memories or best experiences at Mount A? And since like we are doing pretty well for time, I know like everyone loves this question. So if anyone wants to contribute their own answer after, then definitely we can do that. So maybe Marin, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. So one thing I always mention to students, because I'm also a campus ambassador, so when people reach out to me about my favorite experience in Mount Allison, I always say international orientation, because for me, as a first generation student, moving to a whole new country for university, like I was very scared. I was very scared to travel, to move into the new environment, to settle in. But international orientation really helped out with that. And it gave me the necessary information I needed to know to be a student in Canada and Mount Allison in general. So I would say international orientation is the first that comes to mind. And currently I am involved in a couple of things. So getting to spend all of these times with my teammates, my colleagues, it's really fun because in Mount Allison, it's not just always professional, like people are nice. So it's nice to have those experiences while working as well. So those are the memories that come to mind.
Yeah, I would like not international orientation because obviously I wasn't part of it, but orientation is always, I always got the countdown going. It was my fourth year being involved with orientation this year, and I like every event's always so fun and I look forward to it every year. And that's definitely some of my best memories have been made during orientation week, whether I was taking part in it in my first year, taking part as a residence leader in my second year, or on the actual crew and team, helping to run orientation. And another experience I would say is very helpful for meeting people and just having a great time is being a residence leader. Because as my time as an academic mentor in Thornton, it was like an amazing year for me. I had so much fun, and also you get to meet more people because you have the first years coming in as well, and it kind of helps you to meet other people, meet new friends. And some of my closest friends right now were first years in Thornton while I was a second year, just because of those experiences and being able to be a residence leader. So definitely orientation and being a residence leader are some experiences that you can't miss out on.
I knew I had to put Riley on that question because he would be mad if he didn't get to talk about orientation. Riley was like the star of our orientation this year, so we can confirm. I'm surprised. I thought you were going to specifically shout out karaoke barbecue, so I'll do it for you. But that event is held, so it's like the second or third day of orientation. You've just gotten here. You're kind of nervous, like you're still like getting your footing, and then we have like a really big like dance showdown kind of. So each residence and off-campus students do it as well, make like a big dance with all of their housemates, and we get to do it too as orientation volunteers. And oh my gosh, you would think that like as you get older, like you're like, oh, this is for the first years, let's focus on them. We go crazy, and I think we're more invested as fourth year orientation leaders, but it's super fun. So lots of exciting stuff to look forward to if you're coming for orientation as a new student. And also if you're participating in international orientation, that happens before university orientation. So then everyone still gets to participate in the university orientation events as well. Did anyone else have like an event or something? Oh, Claire unmuted her mic.
Yeah, I did unmute my mic. Clearly, orientation is one of the best weeks of the whole year, but there's always just so many little things going on every week. Like, there's always something to do. I know Facebook's embarrassing, but if you're not on Facebook, you'll miss out on all the little events. Like, improv every Wednesday night at the pond. Didn't know I was into improv, but it's so fun to go watch. Or like, I know the Environmental Science Society is doing a lot of like walks around the area where they go and identify different fungi, which I think is really fun because I don't know, that's what I like. But there's always just like little events and always things to look forward to and stuff going on campus. Like it's very active campus, and there's like, unfortunately with COVID a little bit less, but as things start to turn around, they're starting to come back, and I'm very excited for some old favorites like Sack Vegas and Oscars Bash to return.
Everyone immediately nods at the mention of Sack Vegas. I'm excited too. But yeah, it's super true. Like aside from those big events that are like significant, like traditional Mount A events, this has happened like multiple times this year already. Like Claire and I will be studying at the library, and then we like get a little bit bored and decide we're gonna go to the pond and like see what's going on. So like you just kind of have to keep an open mind about events, and like not everything has to be like a huge thing. It doesn't have to be like a super hyped up event. There's tons of cool stuff going on around campus at all times. And if you're like just looking out for like those like big Mount A events that like everyone's talking about like weeks in advance, you will miss a lot of the fun stuff that's going on. So always keep an eye out. And maybe you really just need a study break, you can go see what's going on campus, because there is literally always something. So if no one else has anything to add for that one, our next, Devon, yeah?
Yeah, no, I actually just wanted to mention too, like, this is a much more low-key type thing to do, but one thing that I remember from my first year especially is Riley and I and our actual roommate now, a few of our other friends, we woke up like just before sunrise and walked all the way down to Broken Bridge, which is about, I don't know, what would we say, 2 kilometers away from campus itself, maybe 4 or 5, 4 maybe. Like it's a decent walk from campus. And we walked all the way down there, and it was like the middle of winter-ish. So like, it was cold, it was a long walk, and we just like watched the sunrise. And it was actually like, it was super laid back and just super easy. And it was nice to like do that before studying for an entire day. So like, it was just like a nice way to start the day. So even like low-key events like that, you can just like do as you want type thing.
For sure. There are a lot of like really cute places in Sackville that you can discover. Broken Bridge is definitely one of them. It's super pretty. Okay, so this next question, we're going to have everyone answer this one because it's about academic programs. So we kind of want to give a bit of an overview of the different types of programs you can take here as a student. So what is your favorite thing about your academic program? And what would you say to a student who is considering studying whatever you're studying? So maybe we'll start with Corey.
All right, so the favorite thing about my program is that you can get your degree plus your pilot's license. So from your PPL all the way up to your ATPL, which is the airline transfer pilot license. And I like that because you get a bachelor's degree. And I mean, as you can see now with COVID, it was pretty tough. So like a lot of pilots got laid off. So like the fact that you can have a bachelor's degree, which is something to fall back on in case you get laid off, you could work in the airport as airport management and things like that. So that was a really good option that I think Mount Allison has. And I know even now the Bachelor of Commerce program in aviation has been very popular. So that's even better if you want to get more into the business aspects of aviation compared to the science section. So that's one of the things I like about the program. And I would say was the second question, what would you say if you were studying, like considering studying the aviation?
Yeah, if a student was interested in aviation, but they weren't totally sure, what advice would you give them?
All right, so like the aviation program is fun. Like for the first year, you're just doing like courses here at Mount Allison, but in your second year, that's when you start flying. And you're gonna have a lot of fun. Like from the time, like we usually start off in the simulator first, and you do about like 10 simulator sessions, and then you go into the plane. And I think going into the plane, that's where everybody like feels excited because you get to do your own takeoff, you do your landings, you fly about in the area. It's a lot of fun. just know like it's a lot of, sometimes it's going to be a lot on your plate, especially when you come into the winter semester, because we usually have midterms, plus we have to write exams at the flight school, whether it be like just the end of term exams, and then we have to write Transport Canada exams, and then you have your flight test. So there are sometimes you're going to feel overwhelmed, but what I usually do is like around that time, I'd usually email my profs and just let them know like, hey, I have like some exams at the flight school, and can I get an extension on the assignment? And the profs are generally understanding, especially for the aviation kids. They're pretty understanding, and they will give you extensions. Like I asked my economics prof if I could just get a day, and he gave me a week extension on my assignment, which is pretty nice. So don't be afraid to reach out, and even reach out to the program manager, Elise, at the flight school. You can reach out to Fraser Turner, who's like the program manager here at the university, and you can reach out to him for concerns. And he usually tries his best to reach out to the profs, make them understand. Like we actually had like a little meeting with him to discuss like, because I find the profs in the science are more accommodating than the profs in like, let's say commerce. They're a little more, because I guess they don't understand the aviation program per se. So we reached out to him, and he was able to have a meeting with the commerce profs, and they've been really accommodating now in terms of giving us like extension on assignments and things like that. And one other thing I would say is, if you're considering going into the program, make sure you get your Cat 1 medical done like once you're in your first year, because Transport Canada takes like months, like they take like at least 8 months to return your medical certificate, and you want to have your certificate before you go for soloing, so just get that done. But yeah, that's my advice.
Thanks, Corey. Devon, do you want to go?
Sure. So my favorite thing about the program, like science in general, is like the research that the science department offers. Like you can do an honors, or you can do an independent study, or you can just like work in a professor's lab and just like help them with their research. So all of those are like the different research, or there's more research opportunities, but those are some of them. And they like offer different time commitments and different like aids to your degree as well. So it's like really cool how many different research things you can do in the sciences. And then I guess like what I would say to somebody who's considering studying sciences is just like take it slow, take it easy. Like you get a lot of information thrown at you all at once, a lot of the time. But just like taking a minute to like fully grasp it, and like and just like fully understand what's going on, it like makes it a lot easier. And especially like I know for bio specifically, the first 2 years are a little dry. It may not be stuff that you're entirely interested in. Like I know I had to take plant biology in my second year. To be frank, I don't really care about plant biology. So that class wasn't my favorite, but like I took it easy and it went okay in the end. But yeah, just like taking things like slow, because a lot of stuff goes at you really, really quickly in sciences.
Thank you. Mirren?
Yeah, so I'm in psychology, and there are a lot of things I like about my department. One would be the relationships students have with their professors. The professors are very welcoming, very excited to get to know their students. Like later on, you get to hear the professors saying that they still have connections with their students they taught in classes for like 10 years ago, or things like that. Like you can tell the professors are really interested in getting to know their students, and it goes beyond academics. They really help out in a lot of aspects as well. They are very involved with the Psych Society as well, which is another reason that can explain that they are really involved with students. So I am a part of the exec for the Psychology Society, sorry. And they are really excited to work with us. They're really engaged, really involved. They want to know what we're doing. They want to help out if we need anything. So the professors are top tier in the psychology department. So yeah, I'd say the relationships students have with their professors, it's really helpful, because, you know, students, we go through a lot. We can, we might be studying a lot of courses, we might be stressed, and having those professors really ease the stress for us. So I would say that. Was there another question?
You kind of answered it, but if a student was thinking about psych, but they weren't sure, what would you say to try to convince them?
Well, if you are interested in psychology, I first would recommend to go through the academic calendar to see if the courses are something that you are interested in. And if you have more questions, you can always reach out to campus ambassadors who are in psychology, or you can always contact the professors as well. So they would help you answer those questions you have, and then you can be sure. But psych is fun, like everyone loves psych. I like to believe that everyone loves psych, but yeah.
No, looking through the academic calendar is a really good idea because I found like I was coming to university without, I don't know, it's kind of like a mystery to me. Like it was like, what do they actually do? Like, what are the courses actually about? So even just like taking a quick look, if you're interested in a couple programs, scroll through the courses that are offered by the department and just like see what you're drawn to. You might be surprised. There are tons of super interesting courses, especially when you get into like third and fourth year level. So if you're like, I know it's overwhelming and there's so many choices, but even just like taking a bit of a deeper look into what you might actually be studying, because like psychology, that's obviously like a super broad field, but it can help to like see a bit more of those more specific topics for sure. Riley, do you want to talk about commerce?
Yeah, for sure. So the commerce program, what I really like about it is the Mount A does kind of market their small class sizes, but the commerce classes are even smaller than that, as you might be able to tell from the other titles, as I'm the only one from commerce here. It is a very small program. You pretty much get to know everyone in your program. You work closely, do a lot of group work in your classes. There's a fourth year class that's an entrepreneurship class, and all you do is get together with the class and like come up with a product, and that's the whole class, which is really cool. So you do really get to know the people in your program, which helps a lot for later courses, for help, getting help from other people, having group study sessions and such. And if you're coming and you want to study commerce, one tip I could give would be to there's these things called distribution credits where you take different courses from a variety of different subjects. And I would recommend to take them in your first year, because in commerce, you either have to do an honors in commerce or economics or take a minor. And I never would have imagined in my first year that I would be a French minor until I took my French courses for distribution. And here I am with a French minor now. So being able to take those distribution early and figuring out the minors that I wanted to do really helped me to kind of establish my degree early on and take the courses in those fields that I really wanted to take, which was really helpful.
Thanks, Riley. And Claire.
Sorry guys, my roommates just came home. Love them, but they chatting away, so I just had to tell them to be quiet for a second. Anyways, not relevant to the question. My favorite thing about my academic program is that I've just had so many opportunities to do some really cool hands-on work. Like echoing what Dewan was saying earlier, like I didn't realize how many opportunities there was to do research here until I was in my third year. I wish I looked into it more in my second year and pursued more independent studies, because now doing my honors research, it's just like my professor has so much faith in me to figure it out. Like clearly he helps me as well, but I have so much independence and autonomy in what I do and what I study. And I work with fish, and I'm going to buy more fish on tomorrow, and I'm constantly doing surgeries and stuff that I never imagined that I would ever be doing. And I only feel like I would have gotten those types of opportunities here at a smaller university, where you are able to build those relationships and the resources are here for you to be able to do those like hands-on learning experiences. I've gone on lots of really cool field trips as well with my courses, like around the town of Sackville, doing ecology in the field. I did a field ecology course as well, where I traveled around kind of the greater Moncton area collecting data and yeah, it's just really fun to be able to be outside doing your school. I did not expect that, and that was something that I really enjoy. Um, what I would say to somebody who's considering studying biology is get through the first year. It's really dry. It's a lot of review from high school. You might not find it super interesting and be like, why am I taking this? But then in second year, once some of your core courses you won't like,
Bye, Claire. Oh, she's coming back. You're back.
hello.
We heard you. Your video froze, but we could still hear you the whole time.
Where did it cut me off? Can you guys see me again?
You only got cut off like at the very end, so you're good. Whatever you wanted to wrap up.
Okay.
with.
I can't hear you at all, so I'm going to leave. That was pretty much all I had to say. Are we good now?
I think so.
Sorry.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
that was kind of all I had to say. Probably cut me off at the break. Yeah.
Well, I'll
just
answer
like-
this one too, just because I feel left
Yeah,
out.
in your second year, there'll be one or two of your core courses that you'll really love. And then you can just build upon that. Sorry for my bad Wi-Fi.
It's okay. So again, like you'll notice like a theme is small departments. The economics department is very, very tiny. I think in like my honors class in fourth year, there's like 5 or 6 of us, which is nice because I like never really realized how important small classes were to me. Like you have a few that are fairly big in first and second year, but when compared to other schools, like even our largest classes are small. Like my biggest class in first year is probably like the same size as some of the classes that like my friends at Dal, I'll call out Dal because I'm from Halifax, so I feel like I can. They have like classes that size like into their third year, which would just be like unheard of at Mount A. I am in like 4 out of my 5 classes this semester have less than 20 people. So it's definitely like a very significant drop between like even the jump from first to second year is a big difference too, which is so nice because that's the opportunity when you get to know your classmates, which is so nice because you go through like this whole degree together and you're working on a lot of the same stuff. At Mount A too, I know like not every school is like this, but it's very much like a culture of like cooperation among like students in the same program as opposed to like competing. Like I don't ever feel like I want to hide my answers from someone because I don't want them to do better than me on an assignment. Again, like that sounds crazy to people who go to Mount A, but I know like at other schools, like it's like cutthroat. And one time somebody told me that like their roommate told them a midterm was at the wrong time on purpose so that they would miss the test. I know. And I couldn't believe that that was a real story. Like it was honestly shocking. But you definitely don't have to worry about that here. Everyone really works together and you can also like get involved within your department super easily, which is nice. One thing that I did want to talk about, because we didn't talk about on-campus employment at all, but there are so many opportunities to work for the university or work for your department. So one of the biggest things that's like kind of special about Mount A is teaching assistant positions. So at a lot of big schools, like your teaching assistants are like graduate students or PhD students. Here, like there are some people who, one of my friends like did intro biochem in his first semester of first year and then was a TA for intro biochem in his second semester of his first year. So it's really like that experience is so valuable. And I think a lot of the time we forget because like so many students at Mount A are TAs and we forget that like from an outsider's perspective, having teaching experience is super valuable and not something that a lot of undergraduate students would have. So that's another like really cool thing to keep in mind. There's tons of TA positions across different departments. So like I TA outside of my own departments. It's not exclusively like whatever your major or your minor is. So just like ask those questions early on too. Like profs and like lab techs will love to hear that you're interested in that kind of thing early on, and then you can get a sense of what you might want to do in your upper years. So that's just what I wanted to add. Okay, so those are the questions we had. So we will answer the questions in the chat. So if someone, you can just like turn on your mic and talk. I won't like assign them. Just if you're comfortable answering. The first one is Mount Allison really open-minded to minorities? For example, diverse students and the LGBT community. If anyone wants to take a stab at that one, go ahead.
I guess I can speak on that. As a minority, obviously we do have challenges learning here because we do like deal with people from different backgrounds. Some people don't think the same way as we do. So we do have challenges as minorities. But I'd say the good thing that comes out of it is Mount Allison gives you the chance to create. So like if you're a minority and you don't feel welcome, or you don't feel like you don't have the sense of community, you can create something that would attract people like you. For example, I just created the African Student Association. So like as an African student, like that gave me the chance to get to know more African students on campus. Like I'm co-president of the Black Student Union. So as a Black person, I get to meet other Black people that have the similar opinions and points of views as me. So I would say like if you don't feel like you fit in a certain group, you have the chance to create a group that will attract people like you. So you won't be totally alone, if that makes any sense.
Thanks, Maren. Does anyone else have anything to add?
I guess what I would say is that there's so many clubs and societies on campus too, like Maren said, the Black Student Union and the African Student Association one. Like there's just so many that are applicable to so many different types of students. So like you do have that sense of community within those as well, not only for people of minorities, but also like people that identify with the LGBTQI plus community. So like there's just like a lot of those communities within the clubs and societies as well. And what's really cool too is that like as far as I know, at least, there hasn't been any like issues with either of those. Like nobody has really been excluded for who they are as a person.
And yeah, one thing you can, oh, sorry, Claire, you go.
No, you can go ahead.
If you're ever like wondering if there is like a specific thing on campus that exists, because I know it's hard, like you're not a student here yet, you don't exactly know how everything works. A good place to start. So you might have heard, someone might have mentioned the MASU. So that's the Mount Allison Students Union. That's a great place. Like if you just have general questions about student life, they're also coordinating all of the clubs on campus. So you can reach out to them. They also have a website. I think it's just masu.ca, where you can see the different services they provide, as well as the different clubs that they help to coordinate. And I believe they have contact information on there as well. So if you have a question and you want to ask, like if there's a group, like does this group exist on campus? It can be hard to know where to look, but the MASU is definitely a good starting point. And then they can in turn connect you with like current students who are involved with a group that you might be interested in joining. And that also like doesn't have to happen. Like you don't have to wait until you become a student and like get to Sackville to do that. If you're like deciding whether Mount A is right for you, there's no harm, and like nobody will think it's like you're acting like out of turn to reach out to the MASU and ask for like a contact of an upper year student who is like involved with the group you're interested in. They would definitely appreciate your interest and be happy to like make sure you feel comfortable coming here. So that would be a good step for sure at the MASU.
Yeah, I was just gonna add on, I can't speak to being like a minority, but I can speak to the LGBTQIA plus experience a little bit here at Mount A. I have been, let me restart that. I have found that the community of people that I have met and have been able to surround myself here have very similar views and are very like-minded to me. So I have had probably over half of my friend group come out since we came here in first year. A lot of us came from smaller towns or from high schools where, it's quite overwhelming and you're not really so sure of yourself, and it's in an environment where you're not sure how people are going to react. But I have found from my experience and with my friends that it's been really great for that specifically. Clearly, there's still idiots everywhere, but per capita, the idiots seem to be lower.
Thank you. Some great answers. So we have another question, and it is, when you first started at Mount Allison, how did you feel? That's another big one. Does anyone want to have a go at that one? I felt scared, very scared. It is scary, but the biggest thing to keep in mind is that like it's scary for everyone and you are not alone in your experiences. Even if people like outwardly seem super comfortable and like they're getting the hang of things and you're not, the odds of that actually being the case are very slim. And it's hard because of course, like everyone's trying to put on a brave face, put on this front, you're meeting all these new people for the first time, and it is scary, but don't get caught in the trap of thinking that everyone is handling it better than you are. Okay, that's like my big advice. But then, like 3 weeks into school, you'll feel like you've been here forever. The thing is, you get like thrown into this environment fast and everything changes really quickly. And it's scary at the beginning, but it's nice because then all of a sudden you'll just feel like this is where you're meant to be and that you like really have a good handle on things. The beginning, yeah, of course, it's a really big transition, but you just have to remember that everyone is feeling it too. And again, like even if you feel like you're the only one who's like struggling with something, chances are there's literally hundreds of other people who feel similarly to you. So that's my take on that one. And I wish I could just tell myself during the first 2 weeks to calm down and just take it easy and things will fall into place. You can't scramble to try to figure out everything at once. You will get there. It will happen and it won't take as long as you think.
Yeah, I agree. I also was scared too, because like coming, I mean, you're meeting everyone for the first time, but then you realize that like there are people out there that are way more scared than you. Like I remember I walked up to a couple of people and I was like, "Hey, I'm Corey," and they're like, "Hey," but they gave me like this nervous "hey," and then you just have to sometimes, like the thing I like about orientation, it makes you step out of your comfort zone, because most times you have to be the first one to approach people and say hi. And that's how I made like a lot of my friends. Like all my roommates that I live with now, it was me introducing myself to them and be like, "Hey, I'm Corey." And then I realized like I met couple guys that were from the Caribbean as well. And I met somebody from like Abu Dhabi, and I've never been to Abu Dhabi before. So it's pretty cool to have a friend from Abu Dhabi. I'm like, "Hey, I'm rich now," you know? And one other thing was, it was very cold. Like for me, I came from the Caribbean, right? So we're accustomed to the nice, like 30, 35 degrees Celsius. And at that time, I think it was close to like 19. So I was pretty cold. But everybody was out there in like some short pants and like short sleeve shirts. And I was there in my nice like jacket and long pants and everything. So like if you're not accustomed to like the cold, then yeah, definitely like you could wear like a nice jacket and things like that. Just come prepared for the cold. And then, in the winter time, you have to bundle up a lot.
Let me just say this. I remember Corey.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. When he came for international orientation, I was a facilitator. And one thing we always said about Corey was that he was so excited to be here. And when he first came, we were like, "Oh my gosh, you're Corey," because we could all tell that he was so excited to be here. And I just want to add on that a lot of people are saying that we were scared. Obviously, all of us were scared. But also, I would say like we were very excited because it's in a way, it's a new chapter. It's like we're all of us are away from home. It's a whole new experience. It's not high school anymore. It's like a new life. So aside from being scared, it is very exciting to have that big transition. Sorry, transition. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna kind of add on to that as well. Um, like all of us pretty well, except for a couple, came from a plane ride away or like a drive away where it was far enough that you either know nobody from where you're from or like one or two people. So that for me was something that was really exciting, like the possibilities of the people that I could meet. Like I'm a pretty like outgoing person. Like I was like Corey, I was the go up and say hi first person. But there's people that later on said to me like, I'm so glad you said hi because like I was too nervous and like now like we became friends because you made the first move. Not to say that you don't have to make the first move because there's clearly enough of us that are just go up and say hi people that like make it go around. But yeah, when I first came, I was more excited than anything.
Yeah, you honestly won't believe how fast the people you meet here become, it's so corny, but like become your family. Um, just by nature, like you're in a small community, like we were saying, you spend so much time with these people and like you really get the chance to, it is so cheesy, but it's so true, like form actually like meaningful connections with people. And it's not like high school where it's like people you've grown up with your whole life and you kind of like maybe you like kind of feel like an obligation to them. Like it's not like that. Like here you like find your people and you're like finding them the right way. I don't know if that makes sense, but getting involved with clubs and societies, you meet people with similar interests to you. Residence life is so valuable for meeting people. And I find in residence, like you become friends with people that like you wouldn't have necessarily thought like your high school self would have become friends with, which is super cool. So I like the people you meet at Mount A are the best people you will meet anywhere. And I cannot stress that enough. And it's something that like pretty well every student here would tell you, I think, because everyone really finds, oh my gosh, I really am being corny, like finding your family at Mount A, but it's very true. I think I'm just like fourth year, I'm getting kind of nostalgic. So all I have is cheesy one-liners. Does anyone else have anything to add? We only have a couple minutes left, but if anyone wants to add anything to that.
I'll keep mine short and sweet. Honestly, I was stressed in my first year. There were so many things going on, like so many different classes, and like profs were being very intense. And then like trying to get, honestly, this is going to sound very minute, but like trying to get my room organized for like how I would do best in school, like that was stressing me out. And then like meeting people and all of that stuff, like I just felt like overwhelmed and stressed. But then like took a minute, took a step back, like reevaluated, took a week, literally took a weekend off, and then just like sorted my life out for the year. And I found that like that was good in the end. But yeah, no, and like agreed with everybody else, like excited, um, happy, and like all the above too.
Amazing. And yeah, everything seems like super, like the importance of everything is like really seems magnified in first year. But I'm sure like a lot of us, like if we look back at the things that we were worried about and stressed about in first year, like 3 years later, the impact that those things have had, not as big as we thought it would be. So that's another important thing to keep in mind too. Obviously, the things that you go through, like the stresses in first year, are super, super, super valid. But try to picture your fourth year self, and see if you think it might not be as life changing as you think. That's another good piece of advice. Okay, so I think we're all good. Hopefully we were able to answer your questions. Thank you so much if you sent us one. And thank you for listening. We, again, like I said at the beginning, love to have these panels for you, and we just really hope that they're helpful. I will mention, if you have other questions that you would like students to address, obviously we wish we could stay here forever, but our time is running out. You can visit our Welcome to College page, which is linked to the Mount A website. You can also get there by searching mta.welcometocollege.com. There you will be directed. You'll see a page with a bunch of different campus ambassadors' profiles. You can read like what they're studying, where they're from. They have little bios as well. And there's also an option to connect with an ambassador. So you can like find someone who has interests similar to yours or who's from the same place that you're from. You can actually send them a message. So it's nice. Oh, thank you, Devon. for that link. It's in the chat if anyone wants to take a look. If you have like more specific questions, because obviously we don't have the answers to everything. We also, shameless plug, have our student blog, which is on the same website. So I know like I might have been a bit timid to actually like directly reach out to a student. So the blog is there, like there's tons of information and different posts to scroll through at your own pace. And you don't actually have to like reach out to anyone to get that information. It's all just there and accessible to you as you need it. So I think that's all we have for you today. Thank you again and enjoy the rest of open house. I know I'm really excited for the cooking demonstration tomorrow night with Andy Hay. So make sure to tune in. Corey's also going to be at Ambassador Trivia tomorrow night. So that's also going to be a lot of fun. So enjoy, make the most of it, ask your questions, and hopefully we will see you on campus next year. Okay,